Hello, my darlings. Welcome to the Feminine Legacy Podcast. This is your host, Jackie Ma. And today, I had a cancellation. A beautiful sister was unwell and not able to come on and talk. And then just something so potent dropped in. So I'm here to share it with you. Today, I really want to talk about you as the path and being true to yourself. And just really, I want to salute every human who's watching this video and who is walking a path of evolution or of healing, of growing, like consciously, right? For all of you that are doing the healing work and working with and listening and wanting to grow and show up and mature, I just big salute to you, because there's nothing, there are days when it's easy, but let's just keep it real. It's freaking really challenging to live in a world that predominantly is not doing what you're doing. I mean, just think about that. Like, most of the world is really not doing this. There's a percentage of us that are doing it. And so I salute you, I salute me, and I just want to say, wow, to be so fluid and open to grow, and to be so humbled over and over again, to move through some of the hardest spiritual lessons, to have our hearts broken open and to have them close and have to open them again, and to show up and look at our patterns and our spiritual practices and be so efficient and create discipline and grow our spiritual selves. Whew, I could go on forever about this. But I just want to say that more of me came home today. And if you're walking a path of evolution, you know that more of us comes home all the time. We are consistently expanding and growing. And sometimes on the path, our personal path, we can get so compressed and so immersed in a pattern, a structure, a belief system. And it's part of the work. But we can be there for some time, right? Where it feels like you can't even get air in the windows, right? Where's the sun? and we just have to keep, the only way out is through. And sometimes it feels like you're never going to get out, but but that deep faith, that higher power that moves us through it, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable what the divine is capable of through us. And sometimes it's just judgment subsides, right? And the veil parts, and there's more room and more succulence and more energy for us to just come drop in. Sometimes it's as easy as the timing, right? You wake up one day and forgiveness is there, it's done. And then something opens and it's like, ah. So today I'm experiencing another deep opening, and I just wanted to talk about the path. And I want to say, you are the path. I am the path. In the world, I used to say, I'm on a spiritual path. In essence, that's inaccurate. I'm a spiritual being, and this is my path. I am not limited, although I have limited myself. And I'm sure that you can relate to this if you're walking a path that is spiritually inclined, evolutionarily inclined. Is that a word? Evolutionarily? Where, you might be a shamanic practitioner. You might be working with guru lineages. You might be working with ancestors. You might be working with divine feminine in the womb. You might be working with all these different psychology, all these different houses of things. And as humans, we were taught in our regular lives and in our businesses, we have to really hone in on what's the thing we are, right? What is the stereotype? What is the title? So we have archetypes. We have words, that we use to describe ourselves. We have labels that we put on ourselves, or we allow people to put on us. And it makes me feel like I can't breathe in those systems. In this incarnation, and you may relate to this, I just will not be suffocated by the one God. I will not be I'm not a feminist. I'm not hetero. I'm not cis. I'm not white. I'm not any of these things. I'm so much more than these things. And I'm not just one type of path. Like, I'm a very, very vast being. And in this incarnation, which I know that you can relate to, it is not just one thing. The one thing is source, right? It's the God. That's the truth. That's home, right? And the home piece is like, I'm Jackie Ma, no matter what form and shape I take. I am she. That's who I am. And I can keep changing and growing and morphing. And you might not even recognize me over and over again. I've seen that in my relationships, and I have seen that from cross continents. We keep expanding, we keep growing, because that's what we're here to do. That is what we are here to do. It makes me think of float on. And it's like our bandwidth becomes bigger and our light becomes bigger. We keep growing. And then sometimes we shrink and we get back into that rigid space so that we can push through and expand again. It is not a path for the faint of heart. And I continue to be reminded, thankfully, from my beloved sister, that I am the path. And I don't have to choose one thing or another, because to do that would be to cut off a part of myself. And I've done that many times. And I just want to share, it's very painful. I'm not just one thing. And I don't belong to just one group. I come from many, many lineages. And although there is a main house that holds me, all of those houses are kind of intertwined, right? In the same way I come from a clan, I come from a family. Big up to mom and dad and my son. Like, I was born into a clan, one that I'm so, so grateful to be a part of. I didn't always feel that way, but I do now, because I know that I chose them in this incarnation, and that our connection helps me to be more of who I am. It's set up just the perfect predisposition for me to bring my gifts and my wisdom out into the world. So I invite you to explore that for yourself and to just really reflect on that. So the path, there was a time where it was like, oh, I believed I was walking the left-handed feminine path. No, I'm not. There was a time when I thought I was walking the guru path. No, I'm not. There was a time when I thought I was walking just the shamanic path, or just the energy healer, or the witch. All of these things, we just keep implementing new archetypes. We become more of ourselves. We express more parts of ourselves, come online, and we express them. We dance with them, and then they become part of us. We absorb them into us. The thing is not to absorb into it, because then you walk around with an ego structure, right? Then you're walking around with an ego structure of, I'm the priestess. And then you're limited at some level to all the duties that the archetype of the priestess possesses. And then you move into another archetype of the teacher, of the healer. And we just keep growing what these words even mean. Even the word healer is a loaded word. Of course I am a healer. But being a healer doesn't mean that I have to put hands on somebody, or it doesn't have to be in the same traditional way. There's midwives, there's doulas. You can be working at the bank and be a healer, because your heart is so pure and you're transmitting healing just from being there, just being in the presence. You are just a walking, open instrument of healing. So I say all these things because I myself have been caught many, many times. And I know that there's a divine province to that, like to be held in an archetype until you're done. And sometimes we want to hold on to it longer, because we become so identified with the power of that energy, the power of that wisdom. And then there's like other doors that we need to walk through, and we can't stay confined to the one thing. if you're anything like me, I will not be confined. I am here for liberation for real, like for real. When I know that people are like, what? Like when people say, I really respect that people need labels for a time, right? I don't think I ever considered myself a feminist. And everybody would look at me and think, oh my God, you're completely a feminist. But the reality is, I'm a matriarch. I'm not a feminist. I'm a matriarch. And I hold values that are of nurture and care. And my values, just because I'm a matriarch, doesn't mean that my values will be the same as yours. And there are so many ideas about what words mean, and people just like to label and project. And in the world, they say that they want to be fluid, but they don't. They actually want to be labeled. And I don't want to. So I like really think about this often. Like, I'm not even white. I'm perceived as a European skinned woman, but somebody told me I was white. Like that didn't even exist. If you ask my Italian ancestors if they're white, what are they going to tell you? There's going to be a mouthful there, right? Even the fact that I say I'm Italian, I mean, I claim it, I own it. And the reality is, it doesn't even encompass who I am. That's like naming a region. It's like naming a place. Somebody named that Italy. And I'm actually part Sardinian. I'm part Greek, right? I'm majority Mediterranean, but I have roots in Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, Africa, obviously, right? So there is a full expression of who I am and the people that I come from. But we use these human tags and ideas to find a way to present ourselves. And I'm trying to get free of all of it because it limits me. So, yes, I walk with gurus and wonderful. That's part of my path. And yes, I serve the divine feminine. I am an embodiment of the divine mother. Like I am the mother. It is the truth. Biologically, I've given birth to a child. I am the mother and I'm here embodying the mother. Right. So that feels really clean cut and good for me. There's certain things that I feel really true about. Like, yes, I am a woman. I honor this female body that is part of my service. Because if I didn't have this body, I wouldn't be able to serve women in the way that I do, because I wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about. I wouldn't be able to teach them and show them from the wisdom that I have inherently grown directly from inside of me. Right. So all of these things. So we don't have to be limited. Of course, I'm shamanic. I'm an ancient woman in a human body, working in all the ways, earth-based medicine, sky medicine. I mean, how could I be limited to just earth medicine? Earth is a star. We are on a planet that is floating in a galaxy. I'm not even from this planet, but I love her and I'm here with her. And most of us are not, right? I know that might be like, Jackie, that's pretty woo-woo. It's pretty honest. We're floating around in a galaxy and we happen to be on Earth this time around. And so I'm here in service with her and I'm participating in the glory of living and growing collectively with humanity. And so the path is ours. And staying true to our own fragrance, our own colors, our own signature, and learning when we're growing out of, a paradigm we were once in, and just giving ourselves room and connecting to the fortitude it requires to do this thing. So if you're like me and you've ever found yourself trying to put yourself in a box or trying to build your business and you're like, I have to know everything. It's like, no, you don't. Just focus on your essence. Focus on serving the truth. And sometimes it's easier than others to do that, right? Because I want to serve the medicine from deep, from the absolute truth of me. I hope, and most people will say, I feel that about you. I am pretty personable, pretty funny sometimes. And if you know me, I'm very emotional. Now, oftentimes, these are personality traits. They're not necessarily who I am, but I think you can get a sense, you can get a feel for who I am. But it's bigger, and it's everything. And you are. So that's what I want to say, that the path, we are the path. Everything that we decide, I have an image of like little squirrels, eating their little nuts and their cheeks getting bigger. And they're like, oh, I want this. This needs to come on my, this is part of my path. Oh, I need this piece, this piece. And everything is part of us. And then a lot of things die, right? But they still were a part of the journey. So just lots of love and respect for what it feels like to do the deep healing work, to decondition the self. And what are my needs? What do I really like? Wow, do I like what, I notice it's something that's really funny if you start to pay attention. If you have similarities to your family members, right? Like my mother is like, we both have a lot of themes in common. Well, there's many reasons for that. One is because I chose her to mirror those themes so that I could bring them in. Um, I was so blessed when I was coming up. I didn't know it at the time, but as I became more spiritually attuned, I could see that on my mother's dressers and on my mother's walls, it's so powerful. She was holding a fragrance for me to develop in myself, right? I was surrounded by the fleur-de-lis. I was surrounded by images of France. I was surrounded by Italy. And I was surrounded by Guan Yins and this ancient Asian theme. Like everything was right kind of there all around me. My consciousness developed it around me. So when I got older and I saw, wow, the divine feminine has been so prolific in my life all around me. My mother really held the line in that way. And I'm so eternally grateful to her. So really powerful to reflect on. So honoring the path that you are carving out for yourself, the one that is true for you, and in a world that is so noisy, and just keep coming home and saying, is this true for me? Do I like this color because my mother likes it? Like, is this conditioning for me that I like? It's funny. I always wore really big earrings. Unless I was going on job interviews. And in that way, when I was younger, I was conforming because I felt like I had to play a part, right? I had to look a certain way, and that's okay. I did that. And then I went through a phase recently where I started to wear small earrings again. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? I mean, it sounds silly, but it's true. And it was not, it was, it was a part of me from my past that needed to, come through. And it doesn't mean that I won't wear small earrings again, but it means I'm paying attention. I'm really paying attention to what does it feel like when I wear big earrings? What does it feel like when I wear small earrings? When my hair is long, when my hair is short? Who am I all the time? Who am I pretending to be? Like so there's moments where I'm like, who is that? Like that's not the truth of me. Where'd she come from? And then I get to, do the work and just look at and be like, oh, you come here, you. I see you, sassy little thing. Don't hide. Let me look at you. And then I get to, do some transmuting and find out what's up with what's revealing itself for me. So I'm going to leave it here, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for you. Thank you for showing up. These lives are so precious, and to continuously awaken to more of who we are, it is not fun most of the time. I'm going to be honest, because it takes so much courage, and then it's fun. And then it hurts. And then there's more courage. And then hopefully there's laughter. And generally there is with me. Thank you, that being part of the medicine. There's just laughter because Oh, it's big. It helps it drop in. So my prayer is for all of us to come home, and I'm rooting for you. And I'll be speaking more and more about this. And this year is going to be so profound for so many of us in really, really deepening into our service, our dharma, and just living it, just being the living emanation of the heart's calling. So have a wonderful evening and thank you.